Look at all these flowers. I have 3 weddings this weekend. I originally only booked 2, but the third one is small, so I picked it up as well. And I have 3 entirely different color palettes that I'm working with this weekend, so that's pretty exciting. One of them is primarily whites and blushes, and then one of them has a lot of reds, peaches, creams, and some white. And then the other one is, boy, the best word I could describe it is eclectic. But I wanted to show you just kind of my secret to my method for picking up this many weddings. Next year I'll probably avoid doing quite so many. Right now I'm using my Michigan cooler outside for my roses and some of my greens and fillers just because it's pretty much perfect outside. This is where the creativity begins though. This is my ordering spreadsheet. And I know it's not exciting, but this is where each one of these weddings was created. And I only do this at night when my kids are asleep because otherwise I can't focus. If you were to look at that closely, you're going to see that all of these items are listed out. Bouquets, boutonnieres, corsages, and installations. There's a couple, I have at least one small installation this weekend. So most of this is bouquet work and wearables. And what I have here is I have a table for each wedding. And this process is just started. I'm not finished with it yet, but I have my boxes with my wearables all out. So I have the pins, I have the bows, I have the wristlets all sitting out, ready to go to make wearables. And then each one of these vases or mason jars is going to be a bouquet. And as I go through my flowers as I'm processing them, I'm looking at my spreadsheet that I created when I designed this in my head to see the quantities on that sheet to see how many flowers of each type go in each jar. So there's 5 on that table, there's 6 on this table, and then there's actually just gonna be 1 bouquet over here because that's the small wedding. So when you look at all these buckets, it's a lot, but it's all been accounted for. Everything was done on that spreadsheet so that I knew exactly how much to order, and that includes 24 feet of table greenery and greenery for 15 small tables. You can see all the boxes that my flowers came in. They came in these boxes out of water. So day 1 of prepping for this wedding is getting everything hydrated. So yesterday I took the time to put out my jars. Each wedding has their invoice that has the quantities on it, so I can be constantly checking what people actually ordered and paid for before I start working. And then as I get these flowers in, they all have their own buckets of fresh water, and they were fresh cut. The bottoms were stripped, and they are now in water to soak that up. And then now that it's been about 3 hours, I can take the cardboard sleeves off the roses to let those breathe. And then I can start processing those roses, getting off the guard petals and putting them into the mason jars on my tables. So some of these weddings are sharing flowers, and that's great because it cuts down on waste. Some of them are not. Some of them are only using red or only using this beautiful coffee mocha color in the back there. And then they all have different greens. I have olive, I have gunny eucalyptus, baby eucalyptus. They have leucadendron, baby's breath, Italian ruscus. And then I have some of these beautiful butterfly ranunculus. I have some hydrangeas for a different order. Amy. All kinds of friends here. And then outside, I have more greens I have to process. And I have a bunch of filler and other greens. And those greens out there, I actually picked through last night and then made sure that there weren't bad leaves. And then cut them into 2 different buckets. One bucket are the ones with shorter stems. Those are the ones that will go on the tables. The round tables I'm doing them for. And then the ones with longer stems are the pieces that are going to go onto the head table that are just going to get stretched across. So they're all processed differently. Making sure that they're clean and they're ready for me to lay out. And that took quite a number of hours. So And I also have my helper cat. She's always out here following me around. So if you're wondering what goes into the price of a wedding bouquet, it is way more than just the price of the flowers. It is being able to look at each item that a customer or client wants and then breaking it down into how much product do I need to create those bouquets, and then multiplying everything out. And it all happens right here. And this is part of the reason why it takes me so long to do quotes for people. It's because it requires me to do a lot of math. This doesn't even have the prices. This is just how much do I need to order. So there you have it. That's part of my process. As soon as I get these all sorted out into who gets what per bouquet, a lot of these are a little bit more delicate. They will need to go back into my cooler to keep them in good shape until Saturday. Event flowers are different than everyday flowers because they are sold or delivered at peak bloom, which means they won't last long past your event. But part of that is because they take so long to put together and because they also don't need to. So some of these, like these, will go directly into my cooler because I don't want them to open any more than that or start losing petals. So anything that's more delicate will be put in the cooler. A lot of these greens are probably either going to stay outside or right here because greens tend to have a lot longer of a life. So there you have it. A little bit of chaos, but it's actually not as much chaos as one would think.